Hey all, it's Andy, and back with another bodhrán idea. And today's idea is, what can a bicycle teach us about making simple adjustments to our tippers? So when I got my current bicycle, it came with these big, fat, knobby mountain bike tires, which were great for riding on trails, but however kind of inefficient and noisy and uncomfortable when riding on asphalt or concrete. So what I did is I got a multi-surface tire, put it on the bike, and now I can go a few more places, makes it a little more efficient when I'm riding, a little bit more comfortable. Now also, the drop bars on this particular bike, when I got it, only had one layer of bar tape. So what I did is I added another layer of bar tape over that. What it did is it increased the diameter of the bars, made it easier to hold since I have bigger hands, but also made them soft and added a little bit more cushioning, so it kind of took the road vibration out of it, and I could ride longer distances a little more comfortably. Well, the idea is that just as I made those simple adjustments to my bicycle without changing the overall form of it, the frame, the wheels, the components, I can do the same kind of simple adjustments to my tippers to make them a little more comfortable to play with. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So the first adjustment I could make is just adding something to the tipper that makes it a little softer to the touch, a little bit more comfortable to hold, but can also add some diameter to the tipper, which is helpful, especially if you have a thinner tipper that you prefer the sound of, but you have bigger hands. Makes it a little bit easier to hold. Some of those options could be tennis racket over grip, and you can wrap that as thin or as thick as you'd like it. Wrap it and then secure it in place, either with heat shrink tubing or black electrical tape. You could also use latex surgical tubing. It comes in different diameters and can be cut to length. And you can see I've added it to this tipper here to do the same, to just kind of increase the diameter, make it a little more comfortable to play. Third and well-known one is a pencil grip. So I've got this kind of like rubberized jellied grip. You can also get them in foam, and you can add as many or as few as you want to kind of identify the area that is like the center balance point for swinging when you play. But again, add some diameter, makes it a little more comfortable with which to play. Another option is heat shrink electrical tubing. Again, it's available in various diameters, and I can cut it to length. And if I want to say if I like the tipper, but it keeps sliding and making it a little bit slippery, I could add this tubing to it, and using a heat gun is then melt this tubing so that it fits around the tipper. But anyway, I would do this for the entire length of the tubing and basically just added a rubberized grip surface to the tipper. Another neat trick that I could do with that is I could use O-rings and stagger them at various intervals, and then take that heat shrink tubing and put it over the top, and then I could basically make a texturized grip for the tipper. So if you see, once it starts to melt, you can see how the O-rings show up beneath the heat shrink tubing. And the idea is this makes like a textured grip that's a little bit easier to hold on to, and you can commonly see this in tippers by other manufacturers. Like for example, this is just heat shrink tubing, but underneath is some string that's wrapped around it. When it shrinks down, it gives this textured surface. Another thing you can do is add O-rings to your tippers like I did here, and what this does is by sliding them up or down or away from where you would hold that kind of like center of gravity, center of rotation when you play, is you can adjust the balance or the weight of it so it feels heavier or lighter on one side. And you can add as few or as many as you'd like and move them in or out. Again, it just affects the play or the feel of the tipper. Now the last one is a little bit drastic, and if you're brave enough to try this, you can, but let me explain what I did here. So these are the Mo-Grip tippers by Stevie Moises, and when they come from his shop, they have this little bit of heat shrink wrap that's right here. It's right where the handle meets the receptacle for the bamboo rods that go inside it, and all the tippers come like this. But however, as you can see on this Eamon Murray signature tipper, this goes the whole length. So what I did when I first got this tipper, using some of the tips and tricks we did with the heat shrink wrap here, is I will take a piece of heat shrink wrap that I like, cut it to measure so that it goes as low as it did earlier, and then leaves the little the top of the handle exposed so that when I do double-ended triplets, I can still get that wood contact sound. But what I did is with the original one was take cuticle scissors, cut off the old grip, and then put a new grip on, and then melt it to fit. And now I have this rubberized coating over the handle. It makes it a little more comfortable for me to play with. But anyway, those are just some of the ways you can make those tipper adjustments. So I hope that this has given you a few ideas that you all can use in order to make some simple adjustments to your tippers in order to make them more comfortable to play with. especially if it's a, it's a tipper that you like the sound of, but doesn't necessarily feel quite right in your hand. However, I would add a couple of things to that. Is one, before you start making these adjustments, especially the ones with the heat shrink tubing or heat guns or any of the more drastic adjustments like that, is practice on an old tipper or a dowel rod or an old drumstick with the materials that you want to use, so that if you do make a mistake, you don't destroy the tipper that you like. Second is, I'd also encourage you to maybe step into that. Is first, just use the simpler adjustments, the tennis racket over grip, the surgical tubing, the pencil grips, before you go to some of the other stuff. Again, the idea is that you want to get comfortable with these adjustments before you do something that ends up destroying a tipper that you like, especially if that tipper is more on the expensive side. But anyway, these are just some ideas that I wanted to share with you. If you guys have any ideas of your own, I would love to hear them, so please leave them in the comments below. And thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.